everyone, I'm Helen. I'm going to show you this little art haul. We're going to take it nice and easy. Nothing bad is going to happen here. We're just chilling, chatting, and looking at some paint and art supplies together. I'm going to have a full list of timestamps for the Roman Szmal colors down below. I'm going to put them in the description box and also in the comments so they're easy to find if you want to jump ahead. But for the rest of us, let's get into it and let's have some fun. Okay, first of all, let's back out a little bit so you can get a bit of a better view of the area I'm working in. I'm in my backyard. It is about 30 degrees Celsius today, so I'm hot out here. So I'm gonna try and take it easy. I bought these supplies. It's kind of a mini haul from a place called Wartsman's. And I hope you guys don't mind, but I erased my address there because I trust you, but it's the other people I don't trust. There's a place where I live in Toronto called Wartsman's Art Supplies on Spadina. It is a niche, I would say, art supply store. It's just a one-off. It's not a chain, and it really caters to professional artists. A lot of what they have is professional grade stuff. They don't always have student grade stuff. Nothing wrong with that. It's great to have a niche, especially if you're like a physical store, which they are. True story and fun fact, I've walked by this art supply store, I'm gonna say 500 times in my life, maybe even more. I used to go down, it's in Chinatown, and I used to go there pretty much every weekend to visit my grandparents who are Chinese, and they live near Chinatown. And my goodness, the number of times I walked by this art supply store, and I always wondered, who are the artists inside? And never thought that fast forward one day, it would be me buying supplies from there. So I bought a whole bunch of stuff from them. If you're a Canadian, it's probably good to know that. I think this is one of the few, if not maybe the only place that carries Roman Szmal watercolors. I could be wrong on that, and of course I'm sure new stockists are coming online at any time, but at the time of this recording I'm pretty sure they're the only ones. Right, so I bought 7 different half pan watercolors, which you'll see here. This is one for my friend, so I haven't actually opened this. These are the swatches, because inside each one of these packages is a little paper swatch that is like, it looks hand punched out and hand painted, so that's kind of cool. So when you cut these, if you cut it carefully, you can actually just save these little swatches. But we're going to do some swatching and have some fun together and have a look at the selection that I got here of 7. Let me take a seat and then we can start really getting into things. Of course, you're under absolutely no obligation to like and subscribe, but if you like this kind of content, if you could just even pop me a like, so that I know you want more of this kind of stuff, that would actually be greatly helpful to me. And then I'll also know that you've seen this video as well. I have other videos as well. I'm sure to link them up at the end. So after you've watched this one, if you want to see maybe like an art tour or something like that, I'll pop them at the end. So I'm going to use some Bauhaus watercolor paper. This I got from Amazon, and we'll just do some swatching of the different Roman Szmal colors that I purchased. And well, let's talk about the other things that I purchased first, and then we'll do all the swatching. I feel like if we talk about these, that'll be good. So Sakura Micron pens are like the thing, right? And here's the thing: I bought this pack of 3 because it was one of those moments where I just wanted to get up to the free delivery cost. Have you guys done this? I'm sure you have, where you just want to pick something that you know you'll use. Maybe it's not 100% what you were planning on buying, but because you'll use them and you need to spend the extra, I think $8 or something like that to get up to the free shipping, you do it. So that's what I did with these. So the sizes that came in this particular set of 3 were this 05 finest nib size. I don't know how well you can see, so let me flip this paper over. So this is the teeny tiny one. Let's do a little stroke here. My one beef about these is the caps are just awful. They're just wobbly when you try and put them on. Yeah, this doesn't have a nice positive click. It's sort of this weak click. Here. Hear that? I don't know. It's not a nice firm click. It kind of irritates me, if I'm honest. But I can't complain about the actual quality. It's fine. Here's the 02 size. That's a thicker line. I also don't love that it's got so much metal. It's quite a lot of metal on each of these. And then this is the 08. So this is a thick one. nice bold line. And I have been using them every day because one of the things I like to do, and you'll see me look at this notebook a little bit more, is I like to do nature journaling, basically, I guess you would call it. So they come in handy for doing this. We'll talk about this. This is the Hahnemuhle. We'll talk about that in a minute. The other thing that I purchased while I was there was this designer's gouache, which is white. Let's have a look. This is just a really popular white color. I don't really use much gouache, so I thought if I purchased one, I might feel inclined to use it more, and that has not happened yet, so word to the wise. Right. Let's move these out of the way. This, my friends, is the, what does it say here? Hahnemuhle Watercolor Book A6 Portrait Style. So that means it's this way instead of landscape, which would be with the binding here, opening this way. I really wanted something in a portrait style because that is my preferred shape to paint in. Paper size, paper shape, I guess, paper orientation to paint in. But for whatever reason, I guess I wasn't clocking the fact that it was A6, or and I saw the measurements too, but for whatever reason, when I purchased it, I did get a bit of a shock. It's so small. Like, here's my hand, and here's the book. It's way smaller than I thought it was going to be, and so, yeah, I paid 26 bucks or something like that for this, and I feel like that's a lot of money for what it is. The paper's fine. People go on about it being great paper. It's adequate. I don't know. I don't know that I would repurchase this. I'm almost tempted to buy a Paul Rubens or something like that, or maybe go up a step to the Etcher and try that one out next. So I don't see myself repurchasing, but this is, I will admit, a really great size to tote around with you. And it's certainly nice enough. I don't use a lot of water though, so I wonder if maybe I could have just gone with a mixed media or something a little less expensive. Anyway, those are my thoughts on the Hahnemuhle journal. I think if they're affordable, great. If they're expensive for you, I think maybe unnecessary. So let's talk a little bit about Roman Szmal paints and why I bothered at all, really, while I just score off some spaces here with this. The thing about Roman Szmal is, and what I've heard described, is that it's not every day that a whole new paint brand comes out, and I believe Roman Szmal is fairly new. I don't know how new, but he is a man who's still existing, and it's his company. He's based out of Poland. Okay, don't come for me. These are not going to be perfect. I'm just kind of eyeballing it because I'm not in the mood to measure. But as I said, it's not every day that a new watercolor brand comes out, and so these are handmade in Poland, and they're just artist quality for a reasonable price. Sorry guys, if you see this little dark spot here, I've had to address this in prior videos. If you see this stripe, it is fine. Don't comment and tell me that it's like, I've got to get it checked out. Don't worry, I have. I've seen an oncologist about it and like 2 different like doctors about it, and it's benign. But if you have one of these and you're not sure what it is, they're called melanikia. This one is, because it's, again, benign. Sorry to go on this weird tangent, but this is my, public service announcement. Go get it checked out if you have a weird one like this. It's worth having a dermatologist take a close look at it. But mine is fine. Sorry, I didn't wear nail polish. I often do. Okay, tangent aside, let's get back into the Roman Szmal of it all. I found the prices to be affordable on these for what it is, half pans. The half pans were, I'm going to say the top price was maybe $6, $7, and lowest price was maybe $4 for one of these, and I think that that's not bad. This is Cherry Quinacridone Red, and as I said before, this is an extra that I got for my friend. The number is 329, and it corresponds with this little swatch here. So this is how it comes packaged, and people have said this is a real pain to get open, and having opened 7 of them in a row, I can somewhat attest to that. They can be a bit fiddly. Some can be popped out of the back, so you could just give it a push. But if you do want to cut it, just my suggestion is to cut it here. Just cut it right here. get pretty close to the plastic. That way the plastic opens, you can just pop it out, and then you'll have ready access to this paint chip, which is inside there, like that. So that's the same one, because I bought one for myself as well. Okay. Let's move these out of the way. In fact, let me put this back in the plastic because I don't want it to get splashed. I've got to keep it nice for my friend. Hope she enjoys it as much as I have. So I don't think it'll be a spoiler to say I'm absolutely loving these paints. They are so vibrant. They are so pretty. They're everything you would want in a watercolor. Now, I have heard that they're not better and they're not worse than Daniel Smith, but what I think you have to account for too is that there's just this romantic factor, this absolutely delightful romantic factor of buying something from a living paint maker and supporting a small business. I love that idea. So put these here just to give myself a bit of guidelines as to what everything is. Once again, timestamps if you want to skip ahead to any of these colors. But if you want to just hang out with me for the ride, here we go. Okay, so this, according to my paper, is Cherry Quinacridone Red. This is, what is this? Olive green light. Olive. This incredible speckled one, yes, that's a granulating color, is Dyck Brown. This here is transparent turquoise. I know that without even having a look, because this is the whole reason I bought all of these, is I wanted this color. I had to have it. Have you guys ever been in a kind of fugue state with art supplies where you just see it and you have to have it? I don't get like that too often, luckily for my bank account, but oh my gosh, when I do, oh, there's no stopping me. I will think about it. I will not stop thinking about it till I own it, basically. Embarrassing, but true. This is magenta, and you can see that it's hand painted, huh? You can see how this chip is a little different from these. It's like the edge is showing, and you can see where someone's brushstroke left off. I just love that. I love that it just didn't come printed out of a machine like everything is these days. It feels like. This is Payne's gray. Payne's gray. How's the gray spelled? G-R-E-Y, you know? Being Canadian, sometimes I spell it with an E and sometimes I spell it with an A. And despite the fact that I used to be a copy editor, I actually don't know which is the proper Canadian way to do it. Not that it matters. Okay, guys, so this is what they're going to look like, theoretically, but let's actually paint with them, right? Yeah? What do you say? Got the Cherry Quinacridone Red. That was one of the ones I was very excited about because it's one of the standout colors, so I've heard. You will see how vibrant these colors are. Now, a word about how I've placed these. These are not a basic set, as you can see. These do not represent the primary colors where I'm going to be mixing them or anything like that. What I bought them for was specific colors to complement the kind of painting that I like to do. And I wanted to take out some of the Cotman paints that I don't like, and I wanted to slide these ones on in here in this portable palette for when I take this out and about. And you'll see some of my extras are just in here in this Medan 8-well palette that I got from Amazon. It was about $20 Canadian, more or less depending on where you live. The cool thing about this is not just that it has 8 wells, but what I didn't know was actually a pretty substantial piece, and it's quite thick. I don't know if you can see, but it's got quite a bit of depth to it as well. So this is consequently a mix of the original Cotmans that came in this, which is a student grade watercolor, basically for beginners, and then the ones that I wanted to supplement with. I really wanted an olive green to complement the sap green. Well, I'm going to show these to you. I really wanted this turquoise, although I don't use it an awful lot because not a lot of when I'm trying to paint, you know, to reflect local color. Not a lot of things are turquoise out there. Okay. Okay, enough gabbing. Let's get into this. I'm going to be painting today with a Cotman number 4. This is Bauhaus Academy 100% cotton watercolor paper that I got from Amazon. I think I said that already, along with the Medan palette. Not at the same time, but these are Amazon only purchases because they come from China and they don't have local distributors. Temu is the only other place, and I refuse to shop from Temu at this point anyway. Okay, cool thing about the cherry Quinacridone Red. Let me drop some water on there. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna spray these with my little spray bottle. Get them going. Okay. I sprayed them off camera because I don't want to reactivate these little swatches. The cherry Quinacridone Red had the most honey-like texture on the top, and it was actually a bit sticky. So stick this in the freezer for like 10 minutes before you pop it open if you think that it's going to be sticky to the top, which happened to me. And even in using it, it seems to have a lot of stickiness. I don't know how else to describe it. I don't know if it's the honey, because this is a honey-based formulation, but my goodness, it's amazing. Okay, what did I say we were doing? Size 4 I think is going to be good. Let's get some water. What does that do? So I'm just going to dab straight from the top of these half pans. Here we go. Look how pretty. A dab in water, dab off water. Let's drag this out a bit. You can have a bit of a look, see how it travels. Really pretty. So again, this is cherry Quinacridone Red. And I've got to say, out of all of these, this is the other one that when I saw it, I kind of had to have it. Saw it on the channel Sketches and Scrubs. I believe is a doctor / watercolor hobbyist YouTuber, which is kind of a fun combination. Good for her, but she kind of art influenced me to purchasing this. Okay, just added a bit more water so you can have a look here. Sorry guys, I know I'm shaking the camera a bit. I'll try not to do that. And let's just add a bit. Drop in some concentrated color. Very nice. Cherry Quinacridone Red. It's quite cherry-like. I mean, no surprise given the name. I like to mute this with sometimes a bit of green to bring it down a bit, to mute it if I need something less bright, I guess. Okay, olive green light. Olive green light I've put here. Oops, sorry guys. Sorry for shaking things here. So I'm using something with a very, very buttery consistency right now. You can get it quite deep, but then as soon as you start to move it, wow, right? Look at the transparency. These colors are so nice. So now let me get some water, dab it off, bring this along. Look at that. Nice. So that is olive green light. I'm going to paint approximately the same flower with each of these, which is not the easiest to do, but I want to show you guys how it looks. So what happens if we dab some colors straight from the pan in there? There we are. The color that I found the most interesting and kind of the most frustrating for me, beginner watercolors, just to work with, is this Van Dyck Brown. First of all, I spritz all of these. They're all kind of shiny. This one is not. It's matte. And it doesn't ever get any less matte, so it's got the least amount of shine. I'm going to spray it because it also absorbs the least amount of water, or the water stays for the least amount of time on the surface. Okay, so it's wet now. I'm going to get a good amount, and also you need to pick up a lot if you want a deep color, which is kind of interesting. Let's move this little swatch. This will be interesting, actually. I'm going to put it here, so we're going to see. I've never had anything turn out this color, so we'll see. Oh, wait, no, I have to eat my words. It is starting to look like the swatch. But anytime I've used it, it doesn't seem to, when you actually paint with it, doesn't look like this. I don't know. It's like a low tint, quite transparent. Yeah, I think that this is probably the one I like the least. It just doesn't have the oomph of the others, but it's got a beautiful romantic sensibility that's so delicate. I'm curious to see if these dark spots appear more. Or is it just what I've done? Let's just put some more in there and see what happens. Okay. Flower time. Do 2 petals like this, a foreshortened petal. I guess these are peonies or roses, I don't know, something fluffy. Water, tap off the water, go in here. See what I mean by being quite light? Dabbing in some straight up concentrated dots. Very pretty though. I don't have anything like this at all. I don't own any other paint that looks like this. All right guys, this is the showstopper. This is the party girl. This is transparent turquoise, which is this one, which is the shiniest. And oh my goodness, when I tell you a dab will do you, woof, woof, you'll see I've just picked up the tiniest amount. You're going to see what happens. It is wild. Look at how strong this is, right? I just picked up the absolute teeny tiniest amount. Look at that. I want to paint with this more. There's an urban sketcher by the name of Paul Wang, and he uses a lot of turquoise as almost like spices in his paintings, and I love it. Do I dare to paint straight with this? I guess I'm going to. Okay, let's just go in straight in, see what happens. Right? Do you see that? Wow. The intensity. Okay, sorry guys. Slight interruption there. Ugh, I keep hitting the table. My apologies. I am so sorry that I keep doing that. Okay, let's do some foreshortened petals. I have too much water on my brush. My goodness, the intensity of this is crazy. Okay. Let's get these to kiss, touch, fluff this in here. Let me really rinse this off and make this a bit fluffier. Okay, I'm gonna, whoa, look at that, look at that. This is another one where I don't own anything like this. It is so intense. Look how dark this is. Look at the variations in color. It's just, wow. This is what watercolor is all about. For me, anyway. Let's move on to indigo. Things are drying out here in a flash because the heat is, well, it's hot. I just needed a blue. Not that into primary blue. I have ultramarine and cerulean in my Winsor & Newton set, but I don't have any indigo, so here we are. Very pretty. I've been enjoying this one immensely. Again, just going straight in, touching the top of the wet half pan, and grabbing this thick, thick, thick color. Dabbing off, and let's see what happens. Touch it. And let's get a tiny dab and see what happens when we explode these colors through there. Oh, wow. Isn't it watercolor magic? I just never fails to impress me. Magenta. Now, if I'm honest, maybe should have got buff titanium instead of magenta, and I meant to get buff titanium because that's another all-star that people rave about, and there was only one left. Guess who forgot to buy it? Yours truly. I just forgot to put it in the cart. And guess what? I'm not going to make another order just for one half pan that cost $4. Or should I? Just kidding, guys. Do not enable me. I've purchased enough stuff in the last month to keep me going for a while. So that's magenta. This one is out. It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit, so I have this one loose, and I just stick them in my meat end palette. Anyway, let me get onto this. Bauhanger Academy paper, by the way, is so good, but the texture is terrible. I hate touching it. It's so gritty. I think I have sensory issues where I touch it, it just makes me unhappy. I don't like touching it. But if you want a bright, like almost fuchsia for your botanicals, wow. You know? Just look at that. I know I keep saying wow, but these colors are really something. I don't know what else is out there in terms of watercolor paints. I don't even know if I want to know. That's how much I love this stuff. I am totally repurchasing. Let's drop in some concentrated color. Look at that. Last but not least, the workhorse, Payne's Gray. Very concentrated once again, you'll see. It's so rich, it's almost black when you first put it down, but then it does lighten. Okay. It has the most interesting interaction with water as well, which you'll see. It has the most resist out of all the pigments. It doesn't flow so quickly into the other ones. So I thought maybe in this empty one we could do a little circle time. I'm going to get my Cotman number 10. This is the biggest one that I have, round brush, and we're just going to do a nice healthy circle and drop some of the pigments in. I'm going to get this nice and wet because I really want them to move into each other. Also, it's hot and things are evaporating in like seconds. As soon as I wet it, it's not wet anymore. Let's pick up the 4 again, and I guess I gotta try and move quickly, huh? Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, go. Let's put a dab of this in. And put a dab of the olive green again. And the Van Dyck Brown. Look at that, it dried off already. This is what I mean. It dried off already. It's just the formulation is different, and that's kind of cool. It's not something I'm used to. Look how they're reaching for each other. It's so cool. Okay, the turquoise, I'm almost afraid to put this down. It's going to take off. Okay. Indigo. Indigo spreads like crazy. Look at that. And Payne's gray. Look how much the indigo spread. Oh, that's so cool. And look at how the turquoise stained my water. This was relatively clear. Look at that. There they go. That's cool. But fully half of this got soaked up by the indigo. That's kind of cool. I think it's going to rain, but anyway, let's keep going. But you might want to see me use some of these materials in my Hahnemuhle, see what the Hahnemuhle is all about. So I'll just move this off to the side. It'll still be in frame if you want to keep your eye on this circle as we go. I'm keeping these, obviously. They're really cool to have. I'm like 90% sure it's going to rain on me, but let's just keep going while we can. Look at this. This didn't move very much. That's the sap. Sorry, not sap green. Did I call it that before? Olive green light was the one that moved, I think, the least. Sorry for all the above head noise. It is a Friday. I live under a flight path. I'm not even that close to the flight path, but it's still loud. Friday means there's like a flight overhead every, well, I don't know. You've probably been keeping better count than I have. Every few minutes there's a flight overhead. Okay, so let's go in with the, I sketched this earlier. I'll put up the reference photo that I took while I was there. If you want to access this, if you want to paint this too, let me know and I'll like throw it up somewhere. I actually have a Substack, helenavery.substack.com, where I'm thinking of putting some art stuff. So if you want it, I'll figure out a way to just put it in, put it up on my website. I'm going to go in there with this 02. So I quickly sketched this before Pilates class today. This is a heritage building, and it's also what is called Witchwood Library. I love doing urban sketching if it's heavily mixed with botanicals. I penciled all of this in, so that's what you're seeing underneath. This is Witchwood Library. They just had all these ornamental grasses, and I thought they were kind of cool. So that was 2. Let's move on to a skinny one. I think this is one of the smallest sizes that they make. I'm just picking a spot, and a more effective painter than I would have more of a plan about how to sketch this, but that's not me. I kind of just sketch where my eye goes. These are some cosmos that I did earlier today. So that Hahnemuhle journal is certainly fine. Is it anything special? I don't know. So this one is actually so thin, I'm kind of struggling to use it. But that's okay, I'm just doing a suggestion of these grasses and just going back over them. It's because the pencil's underneath them and it's like I can feel it slipping. Also, watercolor paper has a way of destroying fine liners. I'm sure you guys know that. You know what? I'm going to switch for a second. Sorry not use my supplies, but that's actually starting to frustrate me. I'm just going to finish them with, believe it or not, this is the best pen, I think, for using with watercolor. It's the Uniball Deluxe Micro. It has a nice scratchy quality, but it doesn't get ruined by the textured paper underneath, unlike the fine liners, which have a kind of a felt nib. Making some messy grasses in here. Am I looking at my own reference photo right now? No, of course not. So we just want to suggest this area in the back. It's kind of a planter. Let's try another fine liner again. I'm not ready to give up yet. I'm just going to use one that's a bit thicker. Yeah, that's fine. Of course, you guys know the secret with bricks. Do not draw every brick, or else you'll go crazy. But I couldn't help myself. I just wanted to do a few in here. Right. You'll see in the reference photo, there's these kind of cornerstones, and I will draw those in because I think they kind of anchor everything. They're kind of needed. And then, well, my trick, and it's not really much of a trick, my tactic, I guess, is, yeah, I don't draw them all in. Just draw some. She says that she draws them all in. These bricks were smaller up here. So this is where I'll just start kind of not really getting it to be perfect, not really caring too much about where they are, just trying to be loose and happy and fun. Yeah. Okay, that's very unbalanced, but that's okay. I'm gonna draw this one here. Something's missing, something's needed in this area. Maybe just a brick coming out of here. Everything imperfect, everything uneven. I'm gonna do this one here. And one here. Look at that, huh? All right, I'm gonna take a whole bunch of artistic liberty before it starts to pour rain on me. And we'll color this in using some of the Roman Szmal paints. So let's go. I actually have to change this water. It became too turquoise. Just a sec. All right, sorry about that, guys. I never am the one to get up and get fresh water. Never, but like that was just a step too far. That has never happened. That is so turquoisey. Let's work from the top down. I think that's the best way. So I'm gonna grab my filbert just to add some water. This is the Cotman. All my brushes are Cotman. This is the Cotman 668 filbert. And it's not clean. Oh my gosh, I'm not having the best day. You can see. Normally I'm really good about cleaning these up. What did I do? Oh, you know what? It's not me. It's like the pigment is down deep. This has to be actually probably washed, okay? Fine, let's just... No, you know what? No. You know what we need, guys? We need the square. When you're doing bricks, a square is always great. This is Winsor & Newton's Cotman 666 one-stroke flat squared off brush, 10 mm, 3/8 of an inch. Okay. Okay. Well, never a dull moment. Okay, I'm gonna paint around that as best I can. Right. What do we got? Let's see. I'm not at all trying to go with anything remotely realistic. I just want to try these out. That's way too much water. It's one of those days. That's the cherry Quinacridone Red. Let's pick up a little bit of olive green light. Let's put that here. Nice. Okay, Van Dyck Brown. Again, it dried up. The rest still are sticky and wet looking. This one is dry, once again. I think I'll put it here. Yeah, square brush is definitely the way to go for brickwork. Dare I? No, I'm going to save the turquoise for last. Let's do indigo. You know what? That's just going to muddy up my water again because it's just so potent. So potent. That's a big, thick blast of indigo. Wow. Okay. It's interesting to see where it's going as it dries though, isn't it? All right. Oh, you know what the heck, let's use a bit of turquoise, but I'm going to use a tiny brush. This is the Cotman size 1, just to limit the damages. I don't know what the word is I'm looking for. Limit the intensity. Oh boy, it's already going everywhere. Literally, that was just a speck, I tell you, of paint. And it's just, she's going everywhere. Let's just put it here too, why not? Oh, and the water kind of pooled there too because the page, sorry, has a curve to it. Let's get another potent one. Let's try the magenta somewhere. The magenta dried up pretty fast too. Wow. Pretty. Pretty. Let's give Indigo another try because it was much too potent there. So let me see what happens if I just use it. Yeah, it's so strong. That's not a bad thing, but you don't need a lot. Well, you guys will see my technique is, needs work. I'm a beginner, and I'm okay with that. Beginner at watercolor anyway. What else would you guys like to see? Would you like to see some more cherry Quinacridone Red? What happens if we add water? Saving Payne's gray for here, because I think that would be fun. Let's do a little wet on wet. Fun little factoid, I actually toned this with a lot of water beforehand in a very, very faint indigo. I don't know if you can see that, but just used the faintest amount that was left on my palette, added tons of water, I think it was in that spot there, and toned this paper. Is this the Payne's gray? Let's find out. And a little bit of Dyck Brown, because that's where dirt is. Not that I'm going for a heavy look of realism, but look at this. That's so pretty. Payne's gray. Very nice. So there we have it, guys. I think I used them all. Let's see here. Cherry Quinacridone Red here and here. Olive green light here. Let's do another one. Let's do it right here. Olive green light. Dyck Brown here and here. And let's check back in. Yeah, I'm right. It doesn't quite look as it does in the swatch, which is interesting. This does not look like the swatch, which had more black speckles in it, if you recall. This has no black speckles in it either, so that's interesting. Transparent turquoise. She needs no introduction. She's right there. Indigo. Very thickly concentrated, very watered down. Payne's gray. Magenta. Did I say magenta? Magenta. Now, I just can't leave it quite like this. I really want to paint these out a bit. So I'm just going to use actually just my Winsor & Newton Cotman. This is burnt umber. Mix this with some of the burnt sienna that I took out of the palette because I don't like that burnt sienna that much, you'll see. Not too happy with that. This is a size 1 detail brush I'm using just to pull these down. I really should be using my rigger, but not in the mood. This is olive green light for some of the greens. These are just grasses. I actually wanted to paint flowers when I was there, but I didn't see any, so I had to sketch this real quick. Did this in 6 minutes before I went into my Pilates class. I want to paint this. That needs to be Payne's gray. What do you guys think? Just gonna dab a tiny bit in. Way too thick, what I did. I literally just put a tiny paint dot there. Beautiful color for shading as well, Payne's gray, especially this one. I didn't use the gouache today. Maybe stay tuned because let's change that. Let's use the gouache together at some point, just not today. I've had enough stuff going on. Right, so just to sum up, Roman Szmal stuff, really, really beautiful, romantic, deep, wild colors. I don't know how else to describe them. Look at just the turquoise. The turquoise is wild. I've never painted with anything like it. The indigo's lovely. Magenta's lovely. I wish I had buff titanium. I forgot to paint in a flower for Payne's gray. And you know what? I'm going to do that now. Yeah, one thing I didn't say about the Payne's gray is that, or maybe I did, the pigmentation levels is high. Okay, I'm just going to make this one quick. Let's just make some petal shapes here. Water off the brush a tiny bit. Just come in here, ever so fluffy. Make some foreshortened petals here. Then, last step is just drop in a little bit of pigment straight from the half pan just to see how it behaves. And wow, look at that. Look at it move. Beautiful. All right, everyone. Well, hope that helped you make a purchasing decision, or maybe you just like watching people spend a lot of money on art supplies. Happy to oblige. Thanks for watching. Thanks for spending your time here with me. We'll see you on the next video.